All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip. And today I want to talk to you about how to become a recruiting machine. I'm going to walk you through how I personally recruited 45 agents in the last 2 months, last 60 days, and how you can become a recruiting machine. So if you are a brokerage owner, if you are a team leader, or if you're with one of these organizations where you're trying to build a downline, how to go out there and accelerate your overall agent recruiting at the highest possible level. And what I find is that most have so much resistance, experience so much resistance. This seems to be such a big bottleneck for so many team leaders, broker owners, or those that are trying to grow organizations to take advantage of rev share. So I want to walk you through, I got 6 top tips I want to walk you through on how to go out there and do this and how I am personally doing this. Now, throughout the 20 years I've been in this business, whether it be to my own real estate team, real estate company, whether it be to my coaching business, whether it be my software business, look, I have recruited thousands and thousands of agents between these different businesses. So it's something that I'm not just here to, just regurgitate shit that other people talk about in this business. I'm here to walk you through what I've learned through my own personal experience on how to go out there and, again, recruit at the highest level. Now, real quick, before I do so, make sure to check out gsdmode.com for more additional free resources, more additional free training. And on there, you can schedule a 100% free, zero strings attached Zoom strategy coaching call with me personally. So whether your business is crushing it, or if it's down, look, if it's crushing it and you're doing well and you just want to get a second opinion, see if there's different areas of improvement, I'm happy to do an audit on the 60-minute free Zoom coaching call with you and just give you my 2 cents on what you're doing, see if there's any potential area for improvement. But then also, look, if your business isn't exactly where you want and need it to be, and you don't know exactly where to do or what to do on that, well, on the 60-minute call, I'm going to be able to map out exactly what you need to be doing. And my recommendation to get from where you're at to where you want to go is going to be with you and I. It's not somebody on my team. It's going to be with you and I, 60-minute Zoom call. If it's something you want to take advantage of, you can go to gsdmode.com or you can go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, or you could scroll below into the description or show notes and you'll see a link for there on that. Okay, so now let me start breaking down these 6 different steps to crushing it at agent recruiting, agent attraction, whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of old school. I know recruiting is getting a bad name. Everybody's using attraction out there. Like, I still call it recruiting. So whatever the hell you want to frame it, whatever we want to call it, we're talking about adding agents to your organization. And it's like I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine today. I'm like, yeah, like going out there and getting listings, like listing homes is great. But you go list that property, get paid on it once. So I'm in the business now. Look, I did a bunch of listings, worked with a bunch of buyers, sold 7,000 homes, became one of the top agents and team leaders on the planet. Now I'm in the job of listing agents, right? So I go out there and list agents, meaning recruit agents. Why? Because I get paid residually on everything that they do as long as they're with my organization. So it's just a better leverage vehicle for those of you that are team leaders, broker owners, or if you're building some element of a downline. Okay, so number 1, the first essential thing, and I'm going to kind of reverse engineer this a little bit, is I want you to obsess over the product itself. So the better the product is, this is the thing that you are recruiting to, the easier it is, the less resistance that you have when it comes to recruiting, right? Which makes sense, right? The better the product is, the easier it is to sell. So I want you to obsess over what my personal obsession is. Now, of course, I'm still obsessing over strategy and all these other things I'll talk about here today, but I understand and know that, this is my primary obsession is, making sure I got my USPs, my unique selling propositions in place. Because agents, there's no shortage of options. Look at your market. Look at all the different other teams, brokerages, other options that they have, other downlines that they could be joining. Why should they join you versus anybody else? You got to hone that in. You got to know that. You got to dial that in. What do agents want? It's pretty simple, right? I just identify, okay, what is it that agents want? What is it that people want? And then make sure that you're stacking in and giving them what they want. Because so many in our industry sit there and think it's all about splits. Telling you right now, dude, it's not about splits. Most agents could give 2 shits about splits. 100% is 0 is 0. What they care about is, okay, here's where they're at. They're expensing this element of pain. That's why they're open to making a move. So here's where they're at. Here's where they want to go. Whoever can get them from where they're at to where they want to go, making their goals a reality in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner is who they're going to go with, right? So you got to make sure that you got your unique selling proposition, you got your product dialed in. And I'll tell you right now what agents want, man. They want amazing coaching and training. They want amazing systems. They want amazing support. They want a partner that cares. They want to have a model where they have the ability to go out there and build time freedom, build financial wealth for for them and their family. Those are the primary things that they want. So the more that you can show them what they want, but then articulate how you're going to get them from where they're at to where they want to go, the more effective that you're going to be. So obsess over your product, right? Is your product the best product in the marketplace? Yeah, right? Like, do you have the best overall environment for your agents? Because if we look at like, what is our product is to facilitate the best experience for our agents, or those that join us, agents and team leaders, to get from where they're at to where they want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner. So number one, you got to obsess over that. Okay, number two, you got to develop your pitch. You got to master your pitch. So this is going to be a recruiting presentation. So, okay, like if I'm working with an agent, like I understand they're going to be doing all this lead gen, lead follow-up. Okay, I'm going to make sure that they've got a dialed-in buyer presentation, dialed-in listing consultation, because this is our industry is a two-step selling process, and recruiting agents is no different. You know, you got to do all your lead gen, lead follow-up to set the appointment. But then I don't care how the product is, if you can't pitch it in the right way and articulate that you got the best product, it's going to become irrelevant. They're not going to see that. It's not going to make sense to them. You got to make sure that you are nailing your recruiting pitch. And I can tell you right now, do not make your recruiting pitch about, oh, here's our features, here's our benefits, here's our splits, come join us. That is not effective. That's what like 90% of pitches that I see, recruiting presentations that I see is just that. Hey, here's all the things that we offer, and they just vomit on the agents. Hey, here's all the tools, here's all the trainings, here's what our splits are, come join us, right? I'm not saying to not have as part of your pitch. Now I'll go through, an example here, and not talk about splits if we want to talk about those. But if you look at like, okay, my recruiting presentation with an agent, let's just say that wants to join my real estate company here in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm going to spend about the last 10 minutes on that. The first maybe 40 to 50 minutes, I'm learning about them, where their business is at, what their pain points are, because like I said earlier, dude, sales is just pain and pleasure. They're experiencing a pain with their current situation. They want out of that pain and they want to get to pleasure. I need to know what that pain is and what that pleasure is. So I spend a lot of time asking about their current business, what life looks like and what the business looks like. And if business doesn't change, if they continue, if 2025 looks exactly like 2024, what kind of impact does that make on their business? Does that make on their family? Right? Because they wouldn't be here if they weren't experiencing some element of pain. They're looking to solve this pain point, right? So I want to get into that. Right? And I want to get into the consequences. Okay, if things don't change, then what does that mean? What does life look like if things don't change? Then I want to identify the pleasure, what they want to get to, and what life looks like when they're making that a reality. So I've spent about 15 to 20 minutes on just that. Right? Then I go through and I map out, okay, here's exactly what we are going to do to help you get from pain to pleasure in the quickest, most effective, efficient manner. So then when I start weaving in, talking about features and benefits and systems and the support, now I'm able to talk specifically about how those are going to fit into the plan to help them get from where they're at to where they want to go. Because like I said earlier, who they're going to decide on who they're going to join with is who can get them from where they're at to where they want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient manner possible. Because if I'm just like listing out, it's like if I go buy a car and they're like, oh, well, we got these spark plugs. We got that's just speaking gibberish to me. I don't know shit about cars. That means nothing to me. Right? So same thing there. So if I'm talking about the great CRM that we provide, well, now I can talk about how this CRM specific is going to help with their follow-up protocol, that I'm going to help them get set up and in place to maximize lead conversions. If I'm talking about, support or specific training that we have, it's serving a purpose on based on how they're to get them from where they're at to where they want to go, right? So now I'm getting the features and benefits and all the things that we offer. Again, everything has an explanation where now in their mind, they're visually seeing this plan come together of how they can get from where they're at to where they want to go. Because by the end of the recruiting conversation, I want them to visualize and be like, hey, I now see a way out. I now see how I can get from where I'm at to where I want to go. Right? They can visualize it in their head. So I spent about the last 10 to 15 minutes max talking about features, benefits, splits, right? Spend the first percentage on the other things. So we want to make sure that you've got that recruiting presentation, that recruiting pitch dialed in. Okay, so number 3 is you need to identify your ideal client. So who's your ideal agent and or agents? Meaning, who can you serve and support at the highest level? Who are you equipped to go out there and serve and support? So I'm talking with a buddy of mine. Now this is a dude that started off as an individual agent, just like we all do, but he had a full-time job, part-time realtor, but made $100,000 his first year as a part-time agent. was able to switch full time, and then kept growing, and it got to a point where he's been able to do $500,000 a month or $500,000 a year in his real estate business as an individual agent. So he reaches out to me though. He's like, Josh, I want to start recruiting more team leaders and extremely high producing, agents like you're able to go out there and recruit. But I told him, I said, look, dude, you don't necessarily have the expertise to go out there and serve those clients yet. But here's the good news. And I'm not saying to not go out, whatever, but like I told him, I'm like, I wouldn't even focus on those people, right? Because the people that you're talking about going from, part-time to full-time, and then the amount of agents that would love to get from, whatever, 30 grand, 20 grand, or zero to $500,000 a year is like 99% of the industry. Yeah, right? So focus on those. Like he knows exactly how to go from, make 100 grand a year as a part-time agent. He knows exactly on how to switch from part-time to full-time in a 12-month period of time. He knows exactly how to then scale to $500,000 a year. I'm like, that's the vast majority of agents out there. Like, this inside and out because you did it. Focus on those people, right? So looking at, okay, who can you serve at the highest possible level? Like, who are you really good at serving and supporting? Who can you help at the highest possible level? Those become your ideal recruits, so maybe you're really good at taking brand new agents fresh out of school and get them, making six figures in the first 12 months. Maybe you're really good at people that are part-time, and you're able to help them transition to full-time. Maybe your specialty is working from, with team leaders and helping them scale, right? Identify what your specialty is. Now doesn't need to be ideal client. It can be ideal clients or ideal agents, but get very clear on that. And then that's going to lead me then. So now you know who you're for and who you're not for per se, right? Then from there, that leads me to step number 4 is once you are very clear on who your ideal agents are, then come up with 1 to 3 recruiting strategies to go out there and start going after them, right? Like just like it's because recruiting an agent is no different than recruiting a buyer or seller. And what I mean by that is, okay, you got if you were going to be walking through one of your agents on how to go out there and build the real estate business, you're probably going to tell them, hey, let's identify 1 to 3, new acquisition, lead generation sources. They're going to be consistent with, you're consistently executing on these. Okay, you're doing those to generate the leads. Then you got your CRM, now you're following up with these leads. Then once you're converting those leads, okay, now you're, setting the appointment, and then you got to conduct the appointment, get them to sign, right? It's like the same damn thing. Yeah, right. So same thing here. Now my lead gen strategies is going to be based on who my ideal agent client is. Because what works very well for going after brand new agents fresh out of school, or those just getting in the industry, is way different than a seasoned realtor. And that's way different than a team leader or a mega producer. They're all going to be different. There's different ways to attack like here's an example. For brand new agents and brand new agents fresh out of school and those that are thinking about getting in the industry, I run a ton of Indeed ads. And that works very good for that niche. But okay, if you're seasoned, which I'm guessing anybody that's watching or listening to this is going to be, very seasoned in this industry, okay, you and I would never go to Indeed if we were thinking about switching real estate companies. But people that are used to the corporate world that are new to real estate, that's a go-to spot. So okay, I'm running those types of ads. Or if I'm got a partnership with the local real estate schools, I'm reaching out to them. Okay, those are obviously going to be new agents. That's way different than okay if I'm going after higher level realtors. Okay, you got cross sales that you can do. Strategies there. Masterminds, local events, more long-term relationship based. There's different strategies based on who your ideal client is. No different than, hey, if I'm going after buyers or sellers, then based on what my niche is. If my niche is going to be, short-term vacation rental owners, I want to have, those investors or those clientele. Okay, that strategy is going to be different than if I'm going after expireds or if I'm going after open houses, right? Based on what your clientele is. So identify 1 to 3 lead gen strategies that you can be consistent on. Because if you want to get to a point where you are consistently recruiting, and maybe you don't want to go out there and recruit 45 agents in a 2-month period of time I just did, right? And I'm scaling that up now to, 1 a day and then beyond from there. I'm putting more emphasis on recruiting for myself personally than I ever have. I'm just, growing the real estate business. But maybe you're like, hey, I want to recruit 2 a week. Right, which is a good, a lot of my team leaders, a lot of my broker owner coaching clients, that is the momentum that they're looking for, is to get to 2 consistent a week. Even at that, that's just like no different than if you got a real estate agent saying, hey, I want to close 2 deals a week, right? Like, okay, you better be on your consistent lead gen, consistent lead follow-up, consistent, you got to have a big element of consistency if you want anything like that. Okay, so step number 5 is making sure that you got your CRM and nurture, you got your CRM system and you got your nurture strategy in place. So your average real estate agent makes a move about every 2 years. And the vast majority, there are very few exceptions to this. The vast majority are going to make switches throughout their career, right? So I've been in the business 20 years. I was with my first real estate company the first 10 years. Then was the second company the last 10 years. Then I just recently made the move to EXP so I can grow brokerage inside that brokerage and grow and expand all throughout the country and other countries. And, allows me, it's a vehicle that allows me to build a brokerage inside of a brokerage, right? Without having to have all the liability and all the, staff and bullshit that having my own brokerage does, but allows me to expand and leverage just like a brokerage, but on a much bigger, more effective and efficient front. I made 3 moves over my 20-year career. Right. So now that might be less than the average, but at some point in time, everybody for the most part is going to make a move, unless maybe it's a family-owned brokerage, like their parents, their grandparents owned it, and their parents owned it. They're next in line to take it over. It's a multi-generational thing, but that's like so few. I mean, that's like 0.01% of the population that's in a scenario like that. The vast majority are going to make a shift and change. So you got to understand, so often it's not a no, it's a no, not right now. So you're going to have these conversations, and you're going to get a lot of, I'm ecstatic where I'm at, I'm happy where you're at, things are really good. There's going to become a time where things aren't good, where they're not happy, that's not there. At some point in time, they're going to make a shift, they're going to make a change. It is up then to you if you want to be front of mind. So what are you doing? What are you doing for that long-term nurture? What are you doing? You got to make sure to have that your CRM set up, and then making sure that you're having that long-term nurture follow protocol in place. Right? And my recommendation is to just pour into them more than their own broker does. With training. So whether it be just like I'm doing with these, right, the weekly real estate tips they do on the podcast, where, hey man, maybe you're doing a weekly for whoever your ideal client is, but you're emailing that out to them every single week. So every single week they're getting ongoing nurture email. Then maybe you're doing 2 or 3 or 4, quarterly events, for the real estate community that you invite them to, like just making sure you have that nurture campaign, that nurture process going. So it's because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they're going to make a move, and you want to make sure that you are in the highest probability or the best position to be able to convert them for if and when they are ready. Okay, number 6 is never stop. Now, if you want to personally stop recruiting, okay, cool. Make sure you got recruiters in place for you. You got people in place for you, right? Because there's always going to be a turnover rate. There's always going to be, so we got to make sure we are consistent and we never, ever stop. So you want to be consistent, never stop, always go, and then eventually, plug in those leverage pieces. But if you want to continue to grow and expand this, we just got to stay consistent. If there's one magic pill that exists in our industry, it is consistency. It is never stopping. So those are my 6 overall recommendations. To going out there and recruiting mass amount of agents and hitting your recruiting goals, whatever your recruiting goals might be. And if you want to learn more about what a partnership with me personally at EXP can be, where we can help each other grow and expand your business, I can help get involved in recruiting for you, help grow your team, your brokerage, or your individual production within this model. You get to keep your own brand. It's not like you joining my team, right? This is just a chance for us to partner under this vehicle where we can do more together than we can apart. Where you get all the amazing things EXP offers, all the tools, system support, all your agents also get that as well. Amazing, great lucrative splits. But you get to remove all the headache, all the liability, when it comes to running a brokerage or even a high-level team. But then from there, you get 100% full access and free access to all my coaching, all my mentorship, as well as anybody that you bring on underneath you. So anybody you're bringing on for the rev share, anybody in your organization, so again, this vehicle allows us to build that brokerage inside of a brokerage. So if you are interested in learning more about what a partnership could look like with me at EXP, and I have 2 promises for you. Number 1, it's 100% confidential. Nobody will know about this call other than you and I. Number 2 is you will not be recruited. I'm not here to try to recruit you. I'm not going to try to hard sell you, push you, pressure you. Just say, here's everything that we offer. Here's everything that we do. Here's everything we got going on. If you believe that this is a better overall environment, a better vehicle to help you crush and dominate your real estate goals, great. And if not, that's okay too. We can still be friends, right? So if you want to take advantage of that, if you want to schedule that, go to www.realtors.com. www.gsdmode.com/partner. www.gsdmode.com/partner. Or if you just scroll below to the show notes or the description, you'll see a link in there to schedule and book that. I hope this is helpful. Keep crushing. I will see you next time. Peace.